and a 1-1 draw for Ipswich up at Huddersfield as the good start to the season does take Ipswich top temporarily. This is the Blue Monday podcast. I wonder if we can negate, Craig, the entire rest of the next hour. If I say to Dave now, take a point.
Yeah, it was one of those, wasn't it? Very, very hard earned, I'd say. But yeah, one of those.
Yeah, context is king here, Craig. And I suspect when you take into account all the circumstances, you left Huddersfield happy yesterday, did you?
Well, it's never happy circumstances leaving the north of England. But yes, we all given all things considered, I think before the match, pretty much everyone would have hoped for a win. But circumstances dictated in terms of new manager bounces and crowd being well up for it and weather conditions, etc., etc. Yeah, 100% take the point and get back down south.
Yeah. I think you have to also put in the Sammy Morsey missing factor. I would certainly add to that as well.
Yeah. And we will get onto all of this. Welcome to the Blue Monday podcast. Very, very happy to have loads of people in the live stream at the moment. If you're listening on audio, you can join us each and every Sunday at 8 p.m. and have fun. Get involved in the show, in the conversation. We'll throw as many of those up as we can. And we will go to the Q&A section. And guys, we will give away 2 tickets to Blue Monday Live this weekend, Saturday, 7th of October, Ipswich versus Preston, after the game, to the best question when we get to the Q&A segment. Host's decision is final on such matters here. But
T's and C's.
T's and C's. And if you're not sick of hearing about it, here's a little bit more on Saturday's live event. Yes, Luke Chambers, Ipswich Town, captain of too many millions of games to mention. We are very, very excited to have him live at the event. And if you're watching right now and you want to hit pause on your machine, you can click on that there QR code, which will take you to our website to get tickets. But just tweet any of us and you will find them. We'll hopefully see you on Saturday. It does sound like I'm being a salesman here. Please do buy tickets in advance because our phone's going to melt down on the day of these events with people trying to get last minute tickets. So grab your tickets. Let's get into Ipswich Town versus Huddersfield. We debated, obviously, what we thought the team would look like. Craig, it looked like this. Flagship in goal. Clark, Wolfenden, Burgess, Davis. And it was Luongo partnered, not by Jack Taylor, but by Lee Evans. Burns, Chaplin, and Hutchinson gets the start down the left-hand side with George Hurst up top. Your thoughts, I guess, with the 2 hot-button issues there, Hutchinson and Evans, Craig?
Yeah, well, I think we had a chat in the Telegram group about, as many other people were doing, about the Evans-Taylor toss of a coin. And I must admit, I came down on the side of Evans purely for his experience and it being a away game, etc. And potentially through Taylor's performance at Southampton, which maybe wasn't as up to scratch as the other guys that were around him at the time. So I wasn't overly surprised to see Evans start for those reasons, and obviously he was subsequently made captain of the team as well. And then we found out during the course of the morning, again, a Telegram exclusive was dotted around that Broadhead was back in Ipswich having some treatment, and no real shock that Hutchinson was in his place, given, again, referring back to the Southampton game, given that his performance in Southampton and also the substitute performance he put in against Blackburn. So that probably wasn't as much of an issue, or certainly a controversial selection. But I say it probably was a toss of the coin in terms of Taylor or Evans.
What are your thoughts, Dave? He does seem to rotate in the away matches in these 3-game weeks. Well,
yeah,
I suppose, sorry, forgive me, the Sheffield Wednesday match was away, but he rotated in the Southampton game. But with 2 home games coming up, he seems to have played the cards before they occur. I don't know if there's anything in that.
As Craig said, I think it was a pretty even shout. So we had a poll on the pod, didn't we, on a Telegram group, pretty much with regard to who's gonna replace Moores in. It was a bit 50-50, and yeah, as Craig quite rightly said, the manager went, I suppose, for Evans for experience. Perhaps no coincidence either. He was made captain as well yesterday. Took that over from Morsey also. Yeah, I mean, I think as the game, I mean, yeah, he was okay throughout the game. Usual, quite neat and tidy on the ball, but does lack that little bit of mobility. I feel that then I felt that was certainly missing yesterday. And well, we'll get onto it later in the game. I mean, obviously, he got substituted, albeit with an injury, and it sounded like it was from a block tackle in the first half. So maybe he was carrying that a little bit in the second half, which may have a bearing on on something else that happened. But yeah, disappointed Broadhead. As you said, that sort of broke in the morning on our way up there, and yeah, kind of disappointing. But then we see who the replacement is, like Hutchinson, who said was outstanding against Southampton and great off the bench against Blackburn. So you think, okay, fine, but yeah, both were missed yesterday for sure. Yeah.
Craig, do you think they're still in the kind of cotton wool with Broadhead and his injury record, that it does strike me that if there's any risk with him, he's wrapped up, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. And as you said before, Ben, about it being another busy week this week, then yeah, there's no chances taken at all, is there with him, and understandably so. I think Joe mentioned it about last season, that the only game he missed was Cheltenham over Easter, and that was obviously another condensed period of time where there were a few games back to back. So yeah, they're managing his workload, and yeah, so be it. If he comes back firing hopefully on Tuesday, then it's job done.
Yeah, and it looks like, I mean, we spoke last season about, Dave, 2 players in Hurst and Ladapo holding the number 9 position. If Hutchinson is delivering, which it looks like it's going to be a good loan, fingers crossed, then you have got 2 players covering that position, haven't you?
Oh, you have, yeah. No, it's we said on Tuesday, didn't we? Just look at the depth of the squad now, and again, we'll get onto this in the second half. Certainly, the substitutes certainly made a difference again yesterday.
Amen. Let's have a look at this Huddersfield team then. Lee Nichols in goal, who I believe was in the Championship Team of the Season in 21-22 when Huddersfield got to the playoff final. Pearson, Hellick and Ruffles. I mean, Ruffles is a fullback by trade, but Pearson and Hellick certainly go into the strapping Championship centre halves bracket there. Sorba Thomas, Nakayama, the other wing back, Wiles, Hogg, someone shout Deeney, and Rudoni, who's playing rather well since he teamed up with Warnock, actually, in midfield. Bergzog and Karoma up top. Craig, your sort of thoughts on that Huddersfield side and the threats as they transpired yesterday?
Yeah, well, I was chatting to a Huddersfield fan on the way to the ground, actually. We had a good old chat for about 10 minutes about how the land lied at Huddersfield and their new owners and bits and pieces like that, and team selections. And he was talking about Ruffles, actually, in that they'd brought him in for that game. He hadn't played the previous game, and he's saying he's not the quickest fullback. He thought he'd be playing at fullback. Not the quickest fullback. I thought, well, funnily enough, he'll be up against our quickest player in Wes Burns. So there's probably an opportunity there down our right-hand side to take advantage of that. And as it happened in the first, was it 10 minutes, their wing-back got booked, didn't he, Dave, for a tackle on Burns? You thought, well, happy days here. We're just going to keep going at him. But it didn't particularly pan out that way. But yeah, as you say, Ben, they're got some big strapping centre halves. They didn't look particularly quick. Hurst had them on the turn a few times in the first half, and he's had them for pace, both of them, didn't he, at points, Dave?
He played well yesterday. I thought Hurst, his hold-up play was much better, wasn't it? He really looked.
Yeah.
I thought he looked the part yesterday. Hurst, 'cause he was isolated. He was isolated a lot of time, and you say he was up against a couple of strapping centre halves, and he more than held his own. And yeah, he looks. Yeah, okay. He was as usual. Hurst after 70 minutes, he was blown a little bit, but yeah, he put in a cliche, put in a shift, but yeah, he did, and he certainly. I thought his hold-up play was very good yesterday.
Speaking of Flagship, I've seen a couple of questions coming in. In the live chat is a poll as we speak on the Flagship-Walton debate. Currently, the likeliest scenario, according to you guys voting, is Walton to be slowly reintroduced at 36%. But at 35%, this is neck and neck. Flagship starts until he loses his place, essentially. So we are not entirely sure how this is going to turn out. We'll discuss, no doubt, in the questions. Craig, do you want to take us sort of through maybe the first part of the game and pass over to Dave as and how you see fit?
Yeah, well, we started off really quickly, actually, and Hurst had a header in the first 2 or 3 minutes. There it is, which was straight at the goalkeeper.
Should
sadly.
score, shouldn't he?
Yeah. Having got the run on his defender,
Mm.
and as you saw in the still, they got the leap on him as well. Then, sadly, it went straight at him. But we then had a period where they started to get back on top really after the first 5 or so minutes, and that's when Hladky had to start throwing himself around, make one of his plethora of saves that he made yesterday. He made one from Kamara, I think, early doors. He then there was a Davis clearance, I think, and again he was Karoma, he tipped it up and it landed on top of the bar. That one, but then
no one knew that was going, did they?
No, but they knew there was another one after that. And he said in his post-match interview with the club, they said, "Oh, which one of your saves was the favourite?" I think. Well, he said, "Oh, it was either my first or my fourth." Well,
It was like
that gives you pretty good a fair indication of the busyness of our goalkeeper, and in what weren't they atrocious conditions.
Oh, horrible!
goalkeeper.
Absolutely started hammering it down from about 1 o'clock onwards when we were in the pub. Yeah, he's just so confident. He really is confident, isn't he? With a ball at his feet. I know he had 1 or 2 shaky moments that first game of the season against Sunderland, and maybe that was him just obviously thrown into a big game. Hadn't really played that many big games, had he at all last season? So really thrown into that. So a bit of nerves there. But ever since that, his distribution has been absolutely, I think, absolutely outstanding. And that just gravitates to his overall goalkeeping. It's going to be a interesting decision, a really interesting decision.
I do think sometimes he gets a bit overconfident with his distribution. He's short, his control. When you ping the ball to him, his control it's dead at his feet.
Were you panicking on that sidestep, Craig?
Potentially. And there was another one where he actually went out of his box, didn't he, Dave?
You'd want him in goal on your five-a-side team, wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. Say that if you ping the ball to him, chest, thigh, foot, it'll stick. But it's just sort of that mid-range passing, isn't it? Where it's just sometimes a little bit overconfident.
Craig, my sense with the saves and the finishing, and you were there, I wasn't. Apart from one chance that we'll get onto in the second half, they didn't make massive chances, Huddersfield, but they were all pretty good finishes. I think they made the most of the shots and forced the saves, rather than them being an absolute deluge of massive chances and bad finishing. Is that in any way accurate?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, we weren't cut open at will, but and then by the same token, we weren't doing the same to them. Really, we were pretty ineffectual after that first 5 or 10 minutes until such time as Hutchinson broke into the box, and I'll let Dave talk about that one. But no, you're right.
Over, yeah.
But you're right. They were predominantly from long range. There were a couple of closer ones in the second half, but full credit. I think it's been absolutely super.
I think we had one other good move, didn't we, Craig? The usual move where it was cut back. Back from might have been Burns, could have been Clark,
Burns
could have
to
been Burns,
Chaplin.
I think, again to Chaplin, and he hit it right footed again. He's wrong foot, you would say, but straight at the keeper. Yeah.
Mm.
Looking back on that Hurst chance, that was, someone just said in the chat there, that was, it's one of those ones, he almost hits it, he almost meets it. It doesn't mean it's strong. He almost meets it where he's dead on his forehead.
I
He
think
glances
Hellick,
it. He
don't
glances.
undersell Hellick there. I think it is him who's
No,
climbing
it's
up
a good
with him.
shot. No, he
stops
puts him.
the header to the keeper's right is the goal, isn't it? And he's kind of just doing
he
enough
puts
to
him
put
under
off,
pressure.
isn't
Yeah, but any
he?
glance on that, and that's probably gonna just nestle in the far corner. But yeah, we didn't really create that much until Hutchinson received well, yeah, here. So he receives the ball wide left. I think up to then he drops his shoulder and comes inside on his right foot there. And I think it's
Thomas.
Is that Thomas? It's Silver Thomas, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, he's wrong. So it's an odd one, isn't it? It's a tough one. I mean, in real time, I'm diagonally behind that onto the left hand side there. In real time, yeah, he's breaking at pace. He's being touched. He goes down. You think, yeah, that looks a pen to me. But I don't know. How did you probably had a better view? Perhaps you were higher up than I was, Craig. I mean, there was contact there, I think, and I always think certainly with these players, why would they go down there if there's contact? They've got every right to go down.
Yeah. But then what he did well was to get in front of Thomas, didn't he? He cut in and he purposely got in front of him.
He's on the wrong side, Thomas.
Yeah.
Can I just throw the fly in the ointment here? What he does is the reason I don't think he gets the penalty. And he engineers it, doesn't he? He's running towards the goal. He throws his right leg across in a direction purely to try and gain contact. At that point, Silver Thomas holds his hand up, and that's when the contact. And remember, contact doesn't necessarily, a foul is a foul, and contact is contact. He's trying to engineer the penalty, which is why he's gone down, isn't he?
Oh, I don't know if he's trying to engineer it. I just think he's being clever by getting in front of the man, and it's more of a bundle.
His whole body in front though, Craig. It's just the right leg kind of comes out.
That's a good play, isn't it?
Yeah,
if he goes with the rest of his body, I think he gets the penalty. It's just he goes with the leg.
The referee had the whistle pretty much to his mouth, and then for some reason didn't get it. If that's given against us, I haven't got too many complaints. I don't think.
No, I mean he is breaking. And again, I suppose looking at the rest point of view, he's breaking into the box at sort of literally at breakneck speed. Is there enough contact? I personally think that was a penalty, but yeah, we didn't get it.
We're definitely in grey area here, though, aren't we? It's Sinham given, Sinham not given. I suspect if you ask 100 Huddersfield fans, they'll all say it's not a penalty. If you ask 100 Ipswich fans, they'll all say it's a penalty, which kind of makes it a bit of a partisan issue.
We haven't had one yet, have we? Don't think this season, have we? No, don't think so.
No, I don't.
Only 9 games in, I suppose.
Yeah, there you go. So going into half time then, and interesting substitution then, Dave, with Clark out, Williams in. What's the thinking there?
Yeah, I mean, a couple of times maybe he got caught out of position. I mean, some people, again, I saw on the chat said he was really poor. I mean, I didn't think he was terrible. Did you, Craig, particularly Clark first half?
I must admit, I thought he struggled first half. I don't necessarily think from a defensive perspective, but he gave the ball away a lot.
He gave it, to be fair, yeah. From that point of view, he did. He gave the ball away a bit, and I think he perhaps got caught out of position. A couple of times. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, again, didn't totally appreciate it was tactical, but ultimately it seems it was tactical, and it was a straight swap at half time for Brandon Williams, and well. The manager just can't get anything wrong, can he?
Well, do you want to take us into the second half then, Craig, and up to the goal maybe?
Yeah, well, again, I think Flagship made 1 or 2 saves early doors in the second half. I think certainly one from a curling shot. I don't know who it was that.
That was Koroma again.
Koroma
again. Yeah, that was another good save pushed away, and then we had a corner which we tried to take short, and they broke on us. But then it fell to Taylor in the centre, around the centre circle, and we'd sort of quelled the break. He had it under control. We had the ball back, but then he tried to pass it forward to Wolfenden, who was sort of trying to track back and misplaced that particular pass. But from having their break under control, we've given the ball back, and they're breaking like a subsequent break, and then we're on the back foot really and backpedaling, and Birdsall. Unfortunately for us, it's Lee Evans that's backpedaling into the box, and he just gets completely squared up by him. He ends up. He doesn't end up. He doesn't end up showing him on his weaker side. He ends up sort of just ushering him towards goal on his stronger. And yeah, Evans just if you watch it on the replay, he's not side on. He's just completely square to him, and at that point, he can probably go either way and get a shot away.
It's an odd one, isn't it? Because initially he tracks his run really well. He's in a great position initially, and then as Craig said, instead of showing side on, showing him the left, showing him outside, he completely just faces squares. He's squared up. He doesn't. He squares himself up, doesn't he? And invites him inside. And he's just trying to get the block on the shot. And 9 times out of 10, those little low shots go through you. And no blame on Lackey for that. Hit with pace inside.
Oh, once it goes through the legs as well.
And he was unsighted, completely unsighted. Yeah. You think, that in a near post, but you look back on it, no chance.
So how was the sort of energy of the game after going behind? Obviously substitutions ahoy, then Taylor in for Evans, and we get a triple sub on 75, Ladapo, Scarlett and Harness all coming in. What was your take on the kind of flow then, Craig?
Yeah, well, we didn't really it didn't sort of kick us into action immediately. I can't really think of too many chances until such time we got really to the last 10 minutes or so. Halaki made a point blank save from Rodoni, possibly.
Yeah, brilliant save.
Brilliant save right in front of us, and it was 5 yards out, 6 yards out, flashed across the box. That's the one, and he manages to push that one away at 2-0. That's game over, isn't it? But
that's the best save of the lot, isn't it, Craig?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, that's probably the fourth one that he's referring to. In his post-match interview. And then pretty much 30 seconds or so after that, we then break. So by this time, I think maybe the subs had come on because, and as Dave said at the beginning, they really did make a difference. Harness, especially, I thought, again, coming on as a sub, I thought made a difference, breaking beyond Ladapo. And I think Hutchinson has a shot, which is sort of deflected into Ladapo's path. And again, it's a similar sort of save to Halaki's one there, isn't it? It's like just a deflection, instantaneous save. It gets pushed away. And then I say by this time we were piling on the pressure. They were getting deeper and deeper. I think their crowd was starting to get a bit edgy, weren't they, Dave? You could sort of sense something was going to happen.
Yeah, you're right. I think actually that Rodoni chance is probably the last time they got the ball into our box. Don't forget they brought the 6'9" striker on, who was rubbish.
Carl Hudlin, yeah.
Oh, he was a horror show. He looks like.
Yeah.
I was with Mikey. Mikey coming back. He said he looks like that kid that's won a raffle to play. Do you know what I mean? He was just a shocker.
So
to be fair, they never played.
Dave.
They never played to his strengths. I think he might have won one header, but they just never launched the ball to him. 6'9", for God's sake. Do you know what? If I was being uber critical, and how can you be uber?
Well, you just have been of Hudlin.
Well, okay. Well, I'm Hudlin. No, I'm talking about our changes. Craig, do you think 75 could have done them
a bit earlier?
5-10 minutes earlier, maybe just after the goal. Maybe to see how the game settled after.
There was, to be fair to the uncriticisable McKenna, Dave. There was the 8-minute stoppage time then, so I think it was Joe who was pointing out that managers are going a bit later given the amount of stoppage time.
that is a good point, but I think you could see, and someone just said it on the chat, you could see the immediate. It just had an immediate difference. Taylor perhaps a little bit more mobile, playing slightly more in the more forward central role. Luongo playing a little bit deeper, and after that we just got that control back, didn't we? I felt, and as Craig quite rightly said, Harness came on again and again, made a difference again. He's playing well. Harness really is playing.
He's had a good week, hasn't he?
He has had a good week, because there were games even last season, perhaps early part of this season, where he didn't start, but he'd come on as sub and have no real impact whatsoever. But certainly in recent last 2 or 3 games, he's really made a difference. And he did yesterday, and the goal came really from that. It was quite an odd one because he gets the ball and passes it to passes it wide to Hutchison, and he comes inside on his left foot, as he'd done about a few minutes before for the Ladapo chance. Puts in a not great left foot ball, headed clear. Luongo makes a brilliant challenge, I think, and this is that on that Hadlin. I think he should got his 6'9", he should be strong enough to hold, And do you know what? Looking back at that challenge, Craig's, maybe the ref made allowances for the pitch and conditions because he probably does go through the back of him a bit there.
Mm.
Anyway, he wins it, and then it breaks the harness. Then plays an identical ball, and he played seconds earlier. And this time, yeah, it's all about Hutchinson. He squares up. Is it probably Ruffles at the full back? Squares up, gets to the line, gets to the back post. Davis, don't think he can quite get an assist because I think that deflects off Thomas, doesn't it? He volleys it back in.
It's a
He
lucky
volleys it
little
back in.
nick, but we've got the box
Well,
loaded up and the intention is good from
and
Davis.
I mean, and Williams just wants it. Williams just wants it. Look at that. He actually launches himself, and it's a great header and absolutely in the in the roof of the net. And you saw their reaction. I think I saw Darren Moore's reaction that we're blowing it now. And I think you saw the keeper and the defender's reaction, thinking, okay, it's like all on now. But yeah, I think probably on the balance of play after the subs came on, we were certainly looked the more likely. And but it's still a bit of certainly in the away end, a bit of relief, I'd say. A lot of relief, I would say.
What was your take on the goal, Craig?
Well, you see it on that still again there, Ben. There's almost 9 Huddersfield players in their 6-yard box, isn't there? Look at that. And as just been said in the chat by a couple of people, the header just to fling himself at it. It's quite an instinctive.
It's a long for that. He's
finish.
quite a way out. But
and it's our right back that's our furthest forward player there as well. And what's actually quite interesting as well in terms of the subs, just harknessing back to those, is that Hutchinson stayed on, didn't he, for the whole match, which is quite interesting. So obviously that's where our threat was coming from, was the dribbling of Hutchinson rather than Chaplin, who got substituted. 'Cause I was talking to Sean, one of our Telegram group, after the game, and he was pointing out that
Sean, who does the clips.
Yes,
that's worth joining the Telegram on its, and that's not even us contributing, is it?
Yeah, exactly. And he doesn't get cut of anything, by the way.
Not that I've heard, anyway.
He was pointing out that, as I said before, that what Harness was doing and what Chaplin wasn't was getting forward past the striker, whereas Chaplin, as he does, was doing all his work 30 yards out, 25, 30 yards out, but it's all in front of what was by now quite a packed Huddersfield defence, so it wasn't as effective. And as I say, hence why Hutchinson was left on for the whole 90 minutes.
And as Dave rightly points out, isn't it great to have one of these inverted wingers who, if he wants to, can still go down to the byline and cross it in with his right foot, as well as this trend over the last 5 years for wingers coming in and just shooting every time.
Moore certainly did his homework. They doubled up on him a lot, didn't they, Craig? They really did double up on him a lot. But he came through it well. It's quite physical. We said they were sort of quite at the back, quite big and uncompromised. And it was, I think the game probably just dictated that. It was quite a sort of physical game. And I've got to say, Hutchinson really stood up to it really well. Hence, as he set up the, that goal. And as I said, that Redoni chance was probably the last time they even threatened our box, really, wasn't it? And someone, I think Lee just said on the chat there that, if there was another sort of Sunderland time added on a 13 minutes, another 5 minutes, we might well have gone on and won that.
Yeah, it was their fans that were whistling for the final whistle, wasn't it? In injury time, not ourselves.
100%. Right, let's do the numbers real quick, and then we'll get your summary and move on with other matters in the Championship and coming up this week. So 61% possession in our favour. It's really tight on the XG, isn't it? 1.29, 1.26. So just in our favour. 6 shots on target apiece is completely down the middle. I don't know where the stats are for saves on Footmob, but certainly that would be one that might well be in Huddersfield's favour. And I think that's kind of the narrative of this game, really, isn't it, Craig? That Flagship kept us in it, and this team gets points in football matches, don't they? Yeah,
they do. And from the performance, we didn't really, as Dave said before about that Chaplin chance in the first half where we got the ball and, as we do, cut it back to around about 12 yards out and had a shot. We only probably did that twice in the whole game. We just never really seemed to get a foothold in the game, didn't get a grip on the game at all. Had no rhythm, did we? It was a very bitty, wet, windy game.
It was. They worked hard, didn't they? They worked really hard. I mean, 5 across the middle and stuff. They just didn't allow us, I don't think, Craig. I'm totally with you. I don't think our passing was crisp and as incisive as it perhaps could be. And I know we've said it before, and we'll get to it now. You just missed that Morsey drive in the centre
You
there.
do.
You know, that ability to. Well, we see it every game, don't we? That ability to just drop his shoulder and break the line.
Expect
You know,
to
we
see it
just.
on Tuesday, Dave.
Well, we see it on Tuesday, but and even Morsey in the central, there was a few times where you're so used to either him or Luongo coming out with that second ball. We were losing, say, majority of those. More than say it's majority. I think we seem to be losing the majority of those as well. So just little things you think, sounds like Paul Cook. That wouldn't happen if Sammy Morsey was playing, but do you know what I mean? There were certain instances it did, and I think. Not only that, you just missed. I mean, Broadhead's been so good. I mean, last week he was just on a different level at times. Last week, he was a miss just coming off the left as well. And I think I saw it again in the chat. Certain players not quite on it. Again, Leif Davis, I think, don't have his greatest game. Some of his touch wasn't really there sometimes. Again,
I don't know if he was
carrying a
100%
slight
fit,
injury.
Dave. Yeah, he
I
didn't
don't
look
think he is.
100% fit from the start.
I think Craig. I think is spot on. Incidentally, did you see Greg Lee scored 2 for Oxford yesterday?
On his birthday, wasn't it? On his birthday.
Was it on his birthday as well?
So, yeah.
Fantastic. So look, it's again, a lot of teams would go there on a day like that. Huddersfield, new manager, unbeaten in 4, putting in a performance like that, and there's a lot of teams that will lose there, if they keep that. So, yeah, hard-earned point. I think you'd take that.
And there we go. For all the times we've said happenstance has been in our favour this season, that this might turn out to have actually been a bad time to go to Huddersfield, given what Dave has just said. Right, we are going to go to the rest of the action in the Championship. We'll go Q&A after that. We'll talk a little bit about a Hull on Tuesday. But first of all, and I'm not going to forget to do it this week, Craig, a message from our sponsors, who I apologise to for forgetting last week, Innovation Labs.
Innovation Labs is business hub and co-working space with strategic locations across Suffolk. Our aim is to foster innovation, entrepreneurship, business growth, and the development of an AI centre of excellence in Suffolk. Monthly hot desks are available from just £79. For more info, head to innovationlabsgroup.com or contact info@innovationlabsgroup.com. Innovation Labs, providing support for businesses across Suffolk. Locations in Stowmarket, Ipswich, Sudbury, Woodbridge, with more to follow.
Lovely stuff. And we thank Innovation Labs for partnering up with the podcast once again this season. Right, in the Championship this weekend, I'll give a little thought on each of these. And if, Craig, you go first, there's one you want to pick out afterwards. And then, Dave, you can do the same. On Friday night, God, Sheffield Wednesday 0, Sunderland 3. And on Friday morning, another statement from Mr. Chancery. On Saturday, really interesting one. Southampton 3, Leeds 1. So things flip on their head from the last few weeks, certainly in that one. Bristol City 2, Stoke 3 from 2-0 down as well. Stoke getting an important win. Cardiff are on fire, except when they played us. 4 wins in 5 now for Errol Bulut. They won 2-0 at home to Rotherham. Hull 1, Plymouth 1, which kind of bodes well for us on Tuesday because I'd have made Hull favourites to win that one. Millwall 0, Swansea 3. Bit of a surprise, that one. Another win for Mike Duff. Norwich 2, Birmingham 0, and their 2-star players both scored again. Say no more. Preston 0, West Brom 4, which definitely bodes well for next Saturday. I didn't quite see that one coming. QPR 1, Coventry 3. Are they finally getting going? We can say the same for Middlesbrough as well, because they won 3-2 at Watford. And then, maybe most pertinently to us, which I'm very pleased to say, because I didn't think we were going to be in this particular conversation, Leicester won 4-1 at Blackburn today, and they are looking the part, aren't they, Leicester? Starting to Burnley it up a little bit, aren't they? To go top of the table. What caught your eye this weekend, Craig?
Well, just the results in general, because having 4 hours to spare on the drive on the way up here, myself and my boy Oscar, we had, like a lot of people do, had a little game of predict the results in the Championship and the Premier League. And
good luck with that.
Well, exactly that. You go for each one, you think, well, crikey, yeah. Watford against Borough, well, that's a home win, yeah. What Borough have been struggling a little bit recently. West Brom, Preston, yeah. Well, crikey, Preston are flying at home. That's definitely going to be a home win. Southampton, Leeds. Well, Southampton weren't that great against us. Leeds are flying. Yeah, that's another away win. Every single one was the reverse result of what we predicted. Poor old Bart had a bit of a nightmare, I think, in that Swansea game. One of the goals crept underneath.
Was that Barton goal still? Grimes,
I believe so.
Went right. Yeah. I didn't realise it was him. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, I think so. I think that was probably the one actually, sort of, and the style of play that, from what little you could see from the highlights on the EFL show, looked like Swansea were knocking it around quite nicely as well. So to go there and win 3-0 is no mean feat, is it?
Dave?
Yeah, I think tend to agree with Craig there, mostly. I think that you've said it before, Ben, is the division now starting to find its natural kind of rhythm, and these clubs are now, settling down. Middlesbrough now 2 wins out of 2. I think we're all surprised they were down the bottom. Swansea as well, to a degree, as Craig just said. But not a great result for Preston, considering they've got next 2 games of Leicester and us away, was it? So that things could look a lot different for them come the live show on. Let's hope it does come the live show on Saturday evening. Other results. Again, this has been discussed in our chat. Those early season wins against Cardiff and away at Sunderland.
That's very true. Yeah.
Even better now, don't they? As you say, as the division finds its feet. Leicester. Although from what I saw. Obviously, I was watching the golf. And I did flick back to and fro from the Leicester game, and 4-1. They scored 2 late goals, didn't they? I think Blackburn were reasonably well in that game, but it was one of those games when you always felt maybe Leicester could just up it a bit. But they look well. Look at the side. Look at the scorers today. What Vardy?
That's the point. That's the point, Dave. I think it's important to say I've not seen Leicester where like when Burnley got going, they'd really just take teams. Well, even from the word go, actually, when they dominated Huddersfield in that first game last season. Let me just bring the table up. Leicester have got 24 points already, and I know we've got this gap, and it might end up being good news that Leeds lost, because we've essentially stuck another point on them. But you just wonder if they could. I think Bournemouth a couple of years ago had 40 points by like round 17 or something, 41 points or something. And as we've done with our projections, you get to a point where you can almost be a mid-table side for the rest of the season in a 46-game campaign.
Yeah.
I think we can safely look back on our September as being marginally successful with 13 points out of 15, though, Ben.
Wow.
Yeah. Do you reckon we'll be playing against an Ismail Watford come December, Ben? Because he said he's won 2 in his last 9. You think there's going to be an email heading my way very shortly?
Well, Craig, I tell you what, there is between now and then as well. 2 international breaks, and we know owners like the Pozzos love to make phone calls during international breaks. And there's one after round 11 after the live show that you can buy tickets for. Head to the website, and one in November as well. So plenty of the one in November is sort of about 6 weeks before the transfer window opens as well. So
right in the middle of 18th or so. I think
he'll do well to be in situ then, I think.
Guys, get your question in. Get your questions in, please. People are so well trained here. Stick a Q before it and a question mark afterwards. And yes, we will give away a pair of tickets to the best question that comes in. I'm going to do one golf-related one, and then that's it. So, Dave, you can take this. You can select one current town player to sink a 6-foot putt to win the Ryder Cup. Must have serious cojones. Who you choose? And I don't know anything about golf. It's Nathan Broadhead, surely, isn't it?
No, Sammy Morsey all day long, ice cool. He'll just roll it in from. He'll roll it in. He won't even. He'll walk it in. So these confident putters. 6 foot, Ben, you know what we're talking about, but will putt, and then they won't follow the putt in with their eyes. They know it's going in, so they'll just walk after the putt. So Sammy Morsey wouldn't miss from 6 feet. No way, can't see it.
He also wouldn't be putting up with the opposition caddy waving his hat around in his eye line.
That's true. That's true enough.
He'd be swinging his putt around his head.
Right, golf chat over. Okay.
Boo,
And
boo,
boo
boo.
hiss.
Oh, so cricket World Cup starts this week, Ben.
Yeah, it starts Thursday, doesn't it, this week? Come on.
Cool.
Woot,
If only
woot.
this was a football podcast, eh, Craig?
Wowzers.
Neil, do you chaps think K-Mac regrets not starting Taylor? That's a good question, Craig.
Oh, possibly, probably not. I don't know. But as Dave said earlier, what it did show again, and we know, is that Evans is probably too slow to be a regular starter in the Championship. You know, he just doesn't have the mobility that the other guys do. And what I found, I may be incorrect, but what I thought I saw is that he's tended to drop deeper and deeper and deeper, and was almost treading on the toes of Wolfenden and Burgess, which then meant that poor old Luongo was having to do, the bulk of the work in the real maelstrom of the centre midfield, where it was getting a little bit lively, as he was sort of fighting a lone battle in there, unfortunately. So yeah, I just think that potentially Taylor, but then again, Taylor against Southampton, when he played alongside Morsey, wasn't it? Was his touch really up for it in our third defensive third, to take the ball off the defenders and turn in those tight situations and just take the heat out of games like Morsey just does naturally? It's a really tricky one, and there's been some other questions there about January. If Morsey ends up going with Egypt, if Luongo ends up going with Australia, then what are we? We are stuffed for 4-6 weeks, aren't we?
Possibly.
Yeah, those two have got to be. Those two are certainly up there with the best central midfield two in the whole Championship, surely. Morsey and Luongo, they really are. But personally, Ben, Taylor, that game the other night, Wolves, I know it's a cup game, must have given him so much confidence. I was kind of surprised he didn't get the nod yesterday, but then, as we said right at the start, Evans, experience, got the captain's armband. And look, Evans is a class player. He's a good player, and he probably is he is a decent Championship player. He's a player with that range of passing, but not necessarily in our style at the moment, our style of play at the moment. Yeah.
Okay, let's move this on. Tommy Tuanzebe on Tuesday. Dave, probably not. Probably going to be the same back four, isn't it?
Yeah, why would no? I certainly no, not unless they're going to go to 3, and I don't think they're going to do that. No, he wouldn't. He no. For me, he wouldn't be placing Wolfen and Burgess. So again, both of them yesterday, Craig stood up to pretty much everything. Were good again yesterday. I thought certainly.
Yeah. And what they were both doing, actually, Dave, what they were both doing as well was balling out other players.
Yeah.
You could see Burgess had a go at Evans after the goal, for example. Having a go at his captain for not defending properly after the goal, and there were a few times where they had a go at Williams for not clearing the ball properly, etc., etc. So they're building up in comp. You can just see their
They've got great understanding.
Yeah, absolutely. Good balance. It's a good talking about decent centre midfield partnerships. That's a decent centre defensive partnership.
Yeah.
Rando, looking at Craig's wall, we've definitely maybe which current town player would make the best rock band frontman. I'm going to throw Luke Wolfenden straight in there. He's got the kind of height and presence and nice bright hair, a bit swagger about him, Craig.
Yeah, harness. He's got the hair for it.
Oh, he's a beautiful man, isn't he? Yeah.
Wes Burns, again, bit of a rock and roller type. Any of
the above. Let's move down here. Oh, let me just quickly. The poll at the moment. Okay, Walton to be slowly reintroduced is now the number one on that dilemma. It's changing all the time. Ben, with FFP rules, Dave, can we afford to spend on a number 9 in January without any sales? If so, likely upper limit. We kind of don't really know what the FFP position is is going to be. Well, obviously the accounts will come in and we'll see what let's be honest, how big the losses were from last season. But are we then going to be back to the sorry to hijack Ben's question a bit, the McGoldrick bid and not signing anyone in January in 2015, Dave, and if there is a chance of promotion,
He obviously holds great store in Dane Scarlett, doesn't he? He's got him in. I mean, apparently perhaps we were more after a more permanent signing as another number 9 in, and that for one reason or another didn't work. He clearly rates Dane Scarlett highly. I mean, I guess our league position and where we are will basically affect that, won't it? I guess
think
it's right. Go on, sorry, Craig. Go on.
I think centre midfield, as we were talking about before, centre midfield might be more of our target than maybe a centre forward if
given
we do
that potential.
Yeah, and also given the performances of certainly Evans' replacement. What Joe was saying earlier, actually, I was having a different conversation with Joe offline. He just wonders whether Ilmazuni can be brought back to help us out for the last 5 months of the season. He's doing well at Leyton Orient. He's more of a ready-made replacement potentially. Who knows?
Yeah.
Interesting. AD, do you think Town will be able to hold on to Hutchison after his loan spell? It's catch-22, Craig, because the answer's no if he has a good season, isn't it? Because his value just goes to the sort of point where you see Leicester sign Tom Cannon from Everton for 8 million, or injured as well, whatever it is. That's now the price for a loan player from a big club. And let's be honest, Chelsea are a different level even to Everton, aren't they? So the weird. Sorry, I was just going to say that the weird one is if you look at Gyökeres for Coventry, he actually wasn't very good on the loan from Brighton, and then they signed him, and then it's almost like you kind of need him to not be very good to sign him. But sorry, go on.
Yeah, or just have a few dozen games in the Championship just to make sure that they can withstand it. But Joe said last week, didn't he, about when a similar question come in that Chelsea paid £5 million for him in the summer, so they're not going to be selling him for anything less than double that. You wouldn't expect.
Yeah, I would have thought our best hope would be to potentially another loan. Yeah,
because he is so ridiculously young, isn't he? There's no rush from his or Chelsea's perspective.
Yeah.
Guys, I think, should we give it to the golf question, or should we give it to the
oh my god,
rock and roll question? What do you reckon?
You said the presenter's decision was final, Ben. So host's decision was final.
Right, Craig. You fudged the penalty call, and now you're fudging this as well.
No.
I'm going to give it to Rando then. So Rando 1, 2, 3. If you want to,
I knew you would.
I know it's just complete implicit bias here, isn't it? If you want to give a DM to ask our Twitter to follow you so we can DM you, or whichever way around, please do. And if you would like to come, we will furnish you with 2 tickets, Rando 1, 2, 3, 4 o'clock rock, for our live show next Saturday after the Preston game. Right. It is a busy week, and it is Hull on Tuesday at Portman Road. And I think Hull are quite good, and B, I think when everyone was doing the names for people signing and transfers and whatnot, I think they signed a couple of players who we would have quite liked to, we're getting mentioned, Twine and Philogene and Connolly. I think they recruited quite well. Craig, I saw a lot of Rossini and Rooney's derby, and it was quite slow, quite methodical, but they can control games in that manner and thus tend to be quite good defensively. They are currently just a few places behind in the table in 5th, and have not lost since opening day in injury time against Norwich. So I feel like I'm Mick McCarthy doing a they're no mugs speech here, but I think they're good. And I was looking at the odds the other day. Preston are 7-1 and Hull are 12-1, and I think I might have that the other way round. Maybe those are changes for them. But what's your take on Hull and on Tuesday night? There's been loads of questions about who you'd play as well.
Well, I'm quite looking forward to the match again. I'm hoping it's going to be along the similar lines to the Blackburn game, to be honest, because they came into it in a bit of form and from an attacking perspective.
It's not going to be as open, is it, Craig?
No, probably not. But then as I was watching, again, whatever small bits and pieces you can pick up from the highlight show for the game against Plymouth, and Mumba had seemed to have a lot of space down Plymouth's left behind the the right wing back of Hull. But then Hull created an awful lot of chances. Plymouth did very, very, a bit like ourselves. Did well to come away with a point, and probably very happy to do so in the end. Both teams in that match got caught playing out for the back. Interestingly enough, Hull were really pressing Plymouth, and similarly, the Plymouth goal came from a mistake in Hull's defence. So, yeah, looking forward to it. Actually, again, Rosinia's doing a good job there, isn't he?
Dave, I've just noticed they started one Jean-Michel Seri, who you'll quite enjoy not sprinting and having a cigar on in central midfield.
We like those luxury sort of players,
the ball around. Yeah,
we like
Jean-Michel Jarre.
Jean-Michel Jarre. I bet he's got some lungs on him. That Jean-Michel Jarre. Away wins at Leicester, Blackburn, and Stoke. So they're half decent on the road. I think they got. I think I looked earlier. They got 9 points out of 15 in September. So reasonable return of points. And obviously you've got a squad. They had. I saw on the bench they brought on Twine and Delap off the bench yesterday.
Oh, Delap as well. Yeah, he's been playing well, hasn't he?
Yeah. So I think. Again, no easy games in the Championship is the well-worn sort of line, and I think this will be another one. I think I can see it being another tight one. Yeah, looking forward. Yeah, it should be a good game. Looking forward to it.
What are you anticipating, Craig, team-wise then? If Broadhead has kind of already been rested, and there's now a question at right back with Clark and Williams, I suspect, and the obviously Morsey we would think will come back into central midfield. But if you remember, Luongo didn't start the middle of the 3-game week against Southampton. So they're the kind of areas. Maybe I think someone said in the chat as well. Burns is on 4 yellow cards as well now, so that might be something coming down the pipe. But what changes are you foreseeing?
That's an interesting point, actually, in terms of Burns as well. Are you getting to the point of the season whereby workload has just been so tough and tiring for weeks upon weeks at the moment that it is time just maybe to freshen up? I personally wouldn't. I'd keep as close to what we perceive to be our strongest.
And there is an international break, Craig. Sorry to interrupt. After Saturday as well, isn't there?
Yeah, exactly that. So obviously you'd have Morsey straight back in. I'd have him with Luongo as long as he's fit enough to do so. I'd have Williams instead of Clark. I think it's not very often that you're substituting your fullback at half time. Although the Cambridge away game, Dave, did something similar not happen down there? Forgive me.
I think it did.
Clark went off at half time there, didn't he? I'm sure he did.
Yeah, we had a reshuffle and Edwards came on. Didn't he?
Played a wing back, didn't he?
Yeah.
So it's not the first time it's happened. I just take him out and bring Williams in. So I'd have Williams in, Morsey in, and then depending on fitness, Broadhead back in. But I just wonder whether Harness has done enough if Broadhead isn't around to maybe figure in a starting 11 rather than a sub. I don't know. Considering Hutchinson played the full 90 in the pouring rain.
Completely agree with Craig there. Yeah, I think Harness perhaps deserves a chance if Hutchinson. Yeah, he had a tough old slot. He played that, as you say, he played the full 98 yesterday. So I kind of see that if Broadhead isn't fit, look, fingers crossed he is, and there's no question for me that it's Morsey and Luongo. If Luongo's up to it and no knocks from and fit after Saturday, those two have got to play on against Hull. I think again, Craig, you're right. I see Williams coming in for Clark. He'll be happy enough with that.
And the ridiculous thing is, I've just had a look at the league table. We can lose the next 2 games and we still go into the international break with 22 points from.
Don't think about it.
I know I'm not thinking about it. I'm just saying how good the points total is that they're already at 22 points, which would be 2 points per game by round 11. But home games, Craig, it'd be really good to get a win and go into. So that would be, we'd go into round 11 then on 25 points, facing a Preston side that, as Dave has pointed out, are going to Leicester on Wednesday, I believe. And
immediately after the international break, Rotherham away, I think.
On the Friday night.
that's on TV
Sky
as well. Yeah, but what are you sort of envisaging? I mean, we're going to lose a game at some point again, aren't we? But
as David said earlier, Hull's away results haven't been too bad at all, have they? So I would you be surprised if it's a draw Tuesday night and look to win the Preston game, come out of the week with 4 points, 6 points in total? It's a good time to go into the break, isn't it?
Yeah.
You take that.
That would be 5 points in total, wouldn't it?
Sorry, 5.
Draw, win.
Yeah.
Dave, what are you saying?
Yeah, I think I agree. I think it's going to be a tough. I think
Mm.
Hull's going to be tougher than Preston personally. Preston could be possibly scarred after obviously the 4-0 home defeat against West Brom, and then having to follow that up with Leicester away. So yeah, I think Hull's going to be tough, and I'd personally, like Craig, would happily guarantee me now 4 points for the next 2 games. Yep.
This is where, though, and I know we've come into this conversation. I can't believe I'm so happy we're able to say things like this. But teams that do go up, Craig, they tend to bang out, as you said, at least a couple of wins in these 3-game weeks and 6 or 7 points, don't they? In the end, especially with where you go away, home, which I think is the most preferable way to do it, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, so we've had our 9-point week. It would be fantastic to follow up with a 7, wouldn't it? Crikey.
Yeah,
that really would set the hairs running, wouldn't it? After the post-international break, run up to which looks to be a very tricky end of November, Christmas time.
December, yeah.
That points total may need padding then. Guys, I think that should just about do us for today. I think, have we got a post-match show? Yes,
I think
we do. So post-match show will be live pretty much as soon as the final whistle goes. I know people get back to their cars and someone sticks it on, obviously not watching the screen as they're driving away, but listening to what's going on. So feel free to come and join us on Tuesday, and it's going to be a busy week actually, because then we're going to be previewing the Preston game on Thursday. So I think it's Mikey and Seb on Tuesday, Rich and Seb. Seb's got a busy one, hasn't he? On Thursday, and then Saturday night, please get involved. Blue Monday Live after the Preston game, 7:30 start with Luke Chambers, our guest of honour there. We will do a flagship show on Sunday. The idea is, though, that those people that pay to come and see the show on Saturday, that will not be recorded and put out as a podcast. We feel that that kind of is you're either in the room or you're not in the room, and we'll get a podcast out. So there is going to be so much stuff this week. It's a very exciting week for the podcast, and we're all slightly terrified and looking forward to it in equal measure. Last word from you, please, Craig.
Just that. Please buy your tickets for the weekend, and I'm just intrigued to see Luke Chambers in a slightly more relaxed environment, shall we say? And he's got so many games, so many managers, so many players he's played with. It could be a really intriguing evening of Q&A.
Dave, last word from you.
Yeah, everything that Craig said, and just a quick shout out, if I may, to a great couple of guys. Martin, aka Glasgow Blue, and Dexter.
I met him at Barnsley.
He said Dexter, who we met in the pub yesterday, and fair play to Glasgow Blue, who today ran the Glasgow half marathon. I think he said in 2 hours. I think. I might have got that wrong. I'm pretty sure that's what he said. I might have got that wrong.
Quicker than I'd do it.
Might have been a 10K or something. Sorry, Martin, if I got that wrong. But yeah, a couple of cracking guys travelled down from Glasgow. Great fun, and well done on the run today, mate.
And we should say well done to the Huddersfield lot. Who there was a sponsored walk for Marcus Stewart. I think started early in the morning, didn't it? And came round for the game. So brilliant, awesome. Brilliant kind of link between the two clubs there. Guys, thank you so much for listening to the Blue Monday podcast. Please do hit like if you're watching here on YouTube, and 5 stars and all that good stuff on podcast after the fact. We really appreciate every single one of you listening, and who does that really helps us out as we go into games 2 and 3 of a 3-game week, hopefully culminating in, Craig, at least 7 points, and Blue Monday live on Saturday night. See you all soon.